ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaskar, my dear friends. This video on dialogues from Upanishads, and the Upanishad is Keno Upanishad. So I start the video. Keno Upanishad, third Khand, Brahma and the Devas. First stanza. Brahma won a victory for the Devas by defeating the Asuras. By the victory of Brahma, the Devas attained glory. They thought, to us belongs the victory, to us belongs the glory. Second stanza, he, Brahma, knew their idea of being puffed up with vanity and appeared before them as a yaksha to destroy their pride. They did not know him. Third stanza, they spoke to Agni thus, O Jataveda, find out what this great spirit is. He said, yes. Fourth stanza, Agni ran up to him, Brahma. He, Brahma, said, what art thou? Who art thou? He replied, I am verily Agni. I am verily Jataveda. Fifth stanza, he, Brahma, asked him, what power hast thou who art of such a nature? Agni replied, I can even burn whatsoever there is on earth. Sixth stanza, he, Brahma, placed a blade of grass before him, saying, burn this. He, Agni, approached it with all his power. He could not burn it. He immediately returned from thence to the Devas and said, I was not able to ascertain what this great spirit is. Stanza 7. The Devas then said to Vayu, O Vayu, find out what this great spirit is. Stanza 8. He, Vayu, ran up to him, Brahma. He, Brahma, said, who art thou? He, Vayu, answered, I am verily Vayu. I am really Matarisva. Stanza 9. Brahma asked him, what power hast thou who art of such a nature? Vayu replied, I can blow away all the universe and that is on the earth. 10th stanza. He, Brahma, placed a blade of grass before him, saying, blow this away. He approached it with all his power and was not able to blow it. He returned immediately from there and told the Devas, I was not able to ascertain who this great spirit is. Stanza 11. Then they spoke to Indra, O Bhagwan, find out what this great spirit is. Indra said yes. He, Indra, ran up to him. He, Brahma, disappeared from his view. Stanza 12. He saw in that very spot a woman, Uma, very beautiful and of golden color, the daughter of Himavat. He asked her, what is this great spirit? Fourth Khanda, Uma and Indra. Stanza number 1. She said, it is Brahma indeed, for verily in this victory of Brahma you attained glory. From the words of Uma, he, Indra, learned that It was Brahma. Stanza 2. Therefore verily these devas, Agni, Vayu and Indra became excellent before the other gods, for they touched the Brahma nearest. They first knew that spirit to be Brahma. Third stanza. Therefore also Indra verily became excellent before the other gods, for he touched Brahma nearest. He first knew that spirit to be Brahma. Stanza 4. This is a declaration in illustration of him. He shone forth like the splendor of the lightning. He disappeared like the twinkling of the eye. This is the comparison of Brahma with reference to the Devas. Stanza 5. Then follows a comparison of Brahma with reference to the Atma within the body. As speedily as the mind approaches this Brahma, as speedily as one thinks of Brahma by the mind, and as speedily as the mind wills. Stanza 6. Brahma is verily to be adored by all and is therefore called Tadvana. He is to be adored as Tadvana, who thus knows Brahma is loved by all living beings. Stanza 7. The disciple says, O preceptor, teach me the Upanishad. The preceptor replies, We have told thee the Upanishad. We have certainly told thee the Upanishad, referring to Brahma. Stanza 8. Austerity, self-restraint and karma. The Vedas and all their members are its foundation and truth is its abode. Stanza 9. He who knows this thus, after having shaken off all sins, abides firmly seated in the endless blissful and highest Brahma. He lives firmly seated. Hari Om Tat Sat. So, Keno Upanishad dialogue is completed. Now comes Tattireyao Upanishad. Now Tattireyao Upanishad, Shikshavalli, 11th Anuvaka, the preceptor and the pupil. Stanza 1. After having taught the Vedas, the teacher instructs the pupil, speak the truth, do your duty, do not neglect the study of the Vedas, do not cut off the thread of offspring after giving the preceptor his proper reward, do not swerve from truth, do not swerve from duty, do not neglect your welfare, do not neglect your prosperity, do not neglect the learning and teaching of the Veda. Stanza 2. Do not neglect the duties toward the gods and forefathers. May the mother be thy god, Matru Deva Bhava. May the father be thy god, Pitru Deva Bhava. May the preceptor be thy god, Acharya Deva Bhava. May the best be the word Atiti Devo Bhava. Do such actions as are blameless, not others. Those that are good works to us, they should be performed by these non else. Stanza 3. Those Brahmins who are superior to us, they should be comforted by thee with seeds, etc. Give with faith, do not give without faith. Give with joy, with modesty, with fear, with kindness. Then, if there be any doubts as to any action or conduct, stanza 4. In that case, conduct thyself as Brahmin who possess good judgment, conduct themselves therein, whether they be appointed or not, as long as they are not cruel but devoted to duty. There, in respect of persons accused of sin, conduct thyself as Brahmins, who possess good judgment, conduct themselves therein, whether they be appointed or not, as long as they are not cruel but devoted to duty. This is the rule. This is the teaching. This is the purport of the Veda. This is the command. This should be followed. This verily should be followed. Bharguvalli, first Anuvaka, Bhargu and Varuna, Hari Om. Bhargu, son of Varuna, approached his father Varuna saying, O revered sir, teach me Brahma. Varuna told him this food, prana, the eye, the ear, the mind, and the speech are Brahma. Then he said again to him, that from which these beings are born, that by which when born they live, that into which they go to and enter into, know that is Brahma. He performed a penance, and having performed penance. Second Anuvaka. He knew that food is Brahma, for from food these beings are produced by food. When born they live, and into food they go and enter it. Having known this, he went again to his father Varuna saying, O revered sir, teach me Brahma. Varuna said to him, desire to know Brahma by penance. Penance is Brahma. He performed penance, having performed penance. Third Anuvaka. He knew that prana is Brahma, for from prana these beings are born. By prana, when born, they live. Into prana they enter at their death. Having known this, he again approached his father, Varuna, saying, O revered sir, teach me Brahma. Varuna told him, desire to know Brahma by penance. Penance is Brahma. He performed penance, and having performed penance, fourth Anuvaka, he knew that mind is Brahma, for from mind these beings are born. By mind, when they live, into mind they enter at their death. Having known this, he approached his father Varuna, saying, O revered sir, teach me Brahma. Varuna told him, desire to know Brahma by penance. Penance is Brahma. He performed penance, and having performed penance, fifth Anuvaka, he knew that knowledge is Brahma, for from knowledge these beings are born. By knowledge, when born, they live; into knowledge, they enter at their death. Having known this, he approached his father Varuna, saying, O revered sir, teach me Brahma. Varuna said to him, desire to know Brahma by penance. Penance is Brahma. He performed penance, and having performed penance. Sixth Anuvaka. He knew that bliss is Brahma, for from bliss these beings are born. By bliss, when born, they live; into bliss they enter at their death. This is the knowledge learnt by Bhrigu and taught by Varuna and founded on the highest ether, the ether of the heart. He who knows this becomes one with Brahma. He becomes rich in food and a consumer of food. He becomes great in offspring, cattle, and the splendor of his knowledge of Dharma. He becomes great by fame. Seventh Anuvaka. Do not abuse food. That's thy duty. Woe. Prana is food. The body eats the food. The body rests on prana. Prana rests on in the body. This food rests on food. He who knows that this food rests on food becomes one with Brahma. He becomes rich in food and becomes the consumer of food. He becomes great in offspring, cattle, and in the splendor of his knowledge of Brahma. He becomes great in renown. Eighth Anuvaka. Do not abandon food. That is the rule. Water is verily food. Light is the consumer of food. The light rests on water. Water rests on light. This food is 16 food. He who knows that this food is 16 food rests exalted. He becomes rich in food and becomes the consumer of food. He becomes great in offspring, cattle, and in the splendor of his knowledge of Brahma, he becomes great in renown. Ninth Anuvaka. Acquire much food, that is the rule. The earth is food, Akasa eats the food, the ether rests on the earth, the earth rests on the ether. This is the food resting on food. He who knows that this food is fixed becomes rich in food and becomes consumer of food. He becomes great in offspring, cattle, and in splendor of his knowledge of Brahma. He becomes great in renown. Tenth Anuvaka. Stanza 1. Do not deny residence to anybody. That is the rule. Therefore, a man should by all means acquire much food. The householders say to the stranger who comes to their house, the food is ready. If this food is given with much honor, food is given to the giver with much honor. If this food is given with common honor, food is given to the giver with common honor. If this food is given with want of honor, food is given to the giver with want of honor. Stanza 2. He who thus knows will get reward which is mentioned. Brahma abides in speech as preserver, as acquirer and preserver in prana and apana, as action in the hands, as walking in the feet, as the discharge in anus. These are the meditations among men. Again, the meditations with regard to the gods, as satisfaction in rain, as power in lightning. Stanza 3. A renown in A, as renown in cattle, as light in the stars, as offspring, immortality, and bliss in the organ of reproduction, as everything in the ether. Let one worship that Brahma as sport. He obtains sport. Let one worship that as Maha, greatness, and he becomes great. Let one worship that as mind, one becomes thoughtful. Stanza 4. Let one worship that as adoration and all desires get subdued. Let one worship that as Brahma. He realizes Brahma, let him worship. This is Brahma's place of destruction. His enemies and rivals perish. His unfriendly sons of the brother also perish. He who is in the Purusha and he who is in the Son, both are one. Stanza 5. He who knows thus when he has departed from this world, approaches fully, understands this Atma which consists of food, approaches this Atma which consists of life, approaches this Atma which consists of mind, approaches this Atma which consists of knowledge, approaches the Atma which consists of bliss, enters and takes possession of these worlds, eating what he likes and assuming what forms he wishes. Sits down singing this summon, how, oh wonder, oh wonder, oh wonder. Stanza 6. I am food, I am food, I am food. I am the eater of food, I am the eater of food, I am the eater of food. I am the maker of their unity, I am the maker of their unity, I am the maker of their unity. I am the firstborn of the true, before the Devas I was the midst of immortality. Whoever gives me preserves me, thus I am food, eating the eater of food. I am conquered the whole world, I am brilliant like the sun. He who knows this attains all this. This is the Upanishad. Do protect us from both time. Make us both enjoy. May both of us, student and teacher, at the same time apply our strength. May our study be illustrious. May there be no hatred among us. Om peace, Om peace, 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 peace. So, Tattireyao Upanishad completed. So, Kausthik Upanishad, Chapter 1, Chitra and Gautama. Stanza 1. Once upon a time, Chitra, son of Gangaya, wishing to perform a sacrifice, chose Aruni as his priest. But Aruni sent his son Savetketu and said, Go thou and perform the sacrifice for him. When Savetketu had arrived, Chitra asked him, Son of Gautama, is there any secret place in the world where you are able to place me, or it is the other way, and are you going to place me in the world to which that other way leads? He answered, I do not know this. Well, let me ask my father. He went to his father and asked him, Thus has Chitra asked me, how shall I answer? Aruni said, I also do not know this. We will go to his house and learn the Veda there and obtain this knowledge from him. What others give us knowledge. Come, we will both go. So he went as a pupil with sacrificial fuel in his hand to Chitra, the son of Gangaya, saying, May I come into thy presence? He replied, O Gautama, thou art worthy to receive knowledge of Dharma because you are not carried away by pride. Come, I shall make you understand clearly. Stanza 2. Chitra said, all who depart from this world go to the moon. In the bright fortnight, the moon is gladdened by their spirits, but in the dark fortnight, the moon sends them on to be born again. Verily, the moon is the door of Savarga. Now, if a man rejects it, it sends on beyond. But if the man does not reject, then the moon sends him down as rain upon this world. And according to his actions and according to his knowledge, he is born here as a worm, or as an insect, or as a fish, or as a bird, or as a lion, or as a boar, or as a serpent, or as a tiger, or as a man, or some other creatures in different places. When he has thus returned to the world, a sage asks, who art thou? Let him thus give answer. The seed was brought from the wise moon who orders the season, the ruler of the bright and dark fortnights, the home of the forefathers, itself produced from the daily oblations. What should even mean the deities placed in a man, by that man they placed in a woman. From her I was born in mortal birth of 12 months, of 13 months identical with the year. I was united to a father of 12 and 13 months, that I may either know the Dharma or not know it. Therefore, O God, uphold thy due times of my life, that I may attain immortality, knowledge of Dharma. By my words of truth, by my toils and sufferings, I am time, I am dependent on time. Who art thou? The sage asks again. I am thyself, he replies. Then he sets him free to proceed onward. Stanza 3. He, having reached the path of the gods, Devyana goes to the world of Agni, thence to the world of Vayu, thence to the world of Varuna, thence to the world of Indra, thence to the world of Prajapati, thence to the world of Brahma, Hiranyagarbha. Verily in that world of Brahma is the lake of Ara, lake of enemies. The moments called Yasitiha, the river Vigara is less, and the Ilya tree, the city Salaya, the palace Aparajita, unconquerable, Indra, Indra, Prajapati, the doorkeepers, the hall of Dharma, named Vibhu, his throne, Vichakshana, his conch, Amitanga's endless splendor, and his wife, mind, and her image, Chaksusi, eye, who views the world as if taking flowers, and the Apsaras, the ambus, scriptures, and Ambaya, Ambayavi's intellect, and the rivers, Ambayat, leading to the knowledge of Dharma. To this world, he who knows this, the Paryanaka Vidya, approaches. Brahma says to his attendants, run and meet him with such worship as is due to myself. He has reached the river Vigara, ageless. He shall never grow old. Stanza 4. The 500 Apsaras go to meet him, 100 with fruits in their hands, 100 with garlands in their hands, 100 with perfumes in their hands, 100 with garments in their hands, 100 with ointment in their hands. They adore him with an adornment worthy of Brahma, and when thus adored with the adornment of Brahma, the knower of Brahma advances towards Brahma. He comes to the lake Ara and he crosses it by the mind, while those who come to it without knowing the truth are drowned. He comes, the moments called Yasitiha, they fly from him. He comes to the river Vigara and crosses it by his mind, then shakes off his good and bad deeds just as a horse shakes its mane. His dear relatives obtain his good deeds, his enemies obtain his bad deeds. Just as a man driving in a chariot looks down on the two wheels revolving, so too he looks down on day and night on good deeds and bad deeds and on all the pairs, heat and cold, pleasure and pain, etc. He being freed from good deeds, freed from evil deeds, knowing Brahma advances towards Brahma. Stanza 5. He comes to Ilya tree and the odor of Brahma reaches him. He comes to Salagaya city and the flavor of Brahma reaches him. He comes to the palace Aparajita and the splendor of Brahma reaches him. He comes to doorkeepers Indra and Prajapati and they fly from him. He comes to the hall Vibhu and the glory of Brahma reaches him. He approaches the throne Vichakshunu, the Saman versus Brihad and Rathantra are the eastern feet of the throne. The Saman versus Sayata and Nandhasa, its western feet. The Saman versus Varupa and Varyaja, its sides north and south. The Saman versus Sakivaru and Ravivata, its sides east and the west. This throne is knowledge, for by knowledge he sees all clearly. He comes to the conch Amitangas. This is prana. Past and future are its two eastern feet. Prosperity and earth its two western feet. The Saman versus Brihad and Arthantra are the two sides of the conch, north and south. The Saman versus Bhadsa and Yagna Agniya are the cross sides at the head and feet, east and west. The ricks and the salmons are the long seats, east and west. The yajas, the cross seats, north and south. The moon, then the cushion, the Udgita, the white overlet prosperity, the yellow on this conch. Sits Brahma, he knowing the truth mounts its first with 1 foot only. Brahma asking, who art thou? Let him then answer thus. Stanza 6. I am time, I am what is in time, I am sprung from the womb of space, from the light of Brahma, the light, the origin of the year, which is the past and the present, the soul of all living things and of the five elements. Thou art the self, what thou art that I am. Brahma says to him, who am I? Let him answer, thou art the truth. Brahma asks him, what is the truth? He says to him, what is the other than the gods and senses? Prana, that is Sat, but the gods and the senses are Tayam. Therefore, by that name, Satyam is called all this, whatever there is, all this thou art. Stanza 7. This is also said by a verse, the user his belly, the summon his head, the rik his form. This is to be recognized as the indestructible, indestructible Brahma. The great Rishi identified with Brahma. Brahma says to him, how do you thou obtain my male names? He should answer by the breath. Brahma asked how my female names. He should answer by speech. Brahma asked how my neuter names. He should answer by mind. How smells by the nose, how formed by the eye, how sounds by the ear, how flavors of food by the tongue, how actions by the hand, how pleasure and pain by the body, how joy and dalliance of spring by the organ of generation, how walking by the feet, how thoughts and what is to be known and desired by the intuition alone. Brahma says to him, water indeed is this my world, Brahmaloka, and it is shine. Whatever victory, whatever power belongs to Brahma, that victory he wins. That power is obtained. Who knows this? Yeah, who knows this? Chapter 3, Partha, Partardhana and Indra. Partardhana, verily the son of Devodasa, king of Kasi, went to the beloved abode of Indra by fighting and manly valor. Indra said to him, O Partardhana, choose a boon. Partardhana replied, choose thou for me that thou thinkest best for man. Indra said to him, the superior chooses not for the inferior. Choose thou for thyself. Partardhana said, let not the inferior choose. Then, however, Indra did not swerve from the truth, for Indra is truth. Indra said to him, verily know me only. This I think the best for man, that he should know me. I slew the three-headed son of Tavastri. I gave the Aruna Mukhas, the devotees, to the wolves, Slavarika, violating many a treaty. I slew the people of Prahlada in heaven, the sons of Puluman in the sky, the people of Kalakanga on earth, who knows me by no deed of his is life harmed, not by theft, not by the murder of a Brahmin, not by the murder of his mother, not by the murder of his father. If he is going to commit a sin, the bloom does not depart from his face. Stanza 2. Indra said, I am prana, meditate on me as the conscious self, prajan, prajanatman, prajanatman, as life, as immortal. Life is prana, prana is life, immortality is prana, prana is immortality. As long as prana abides in this body, so long does surely life abides. By prana he obtains immortality in this world. By knowledge he obtains a true conception. He who meditates on me as life and immortality obtains his full life in this world and obtains in heaven immortality and indestructibility. Partardhana said, some say that the pranas become one, for none at the same time can make known as name by the speech, see a form by the eye, hear a sound by the ear, and think a thought by the mind. After having become one, the pranas make known all these one by one. Thus, when speech speaks, all the pranas speak after it. When the eyes sees, all the pranas sees after it. When the ear hears, all the pranas hear after it. When the mind thinks, all the pranas think after it. When the prana when the prana breathes, all the pranas breathe after it. Indra said, thus it is indeed, but nevertheless there is a preeminence among the pranas. Stanza 3. One lives deprived of speech, for we see dumb people. One lives deprived of sight, for we see blind people. One lives deprived of hearing, for we see deaf people. One lives deprived of mind, for we see infants. One lives deprived of his arms, deprived of his legs, for we see it thus. Therefore, indeed, prana is the conscious self. Prajnatman, having laid hold of this body, it raises it up. Therefore, let man worship it alone as Uktha. That is why we find everything is prana. What is prana? That is prajna, self-consciousness. What is the prajna? That is prana. For together they prajna and prana live in this body and together they go out of it. Of that, this is the truth, this is the understanding. When a man is so asleep that he sees no dreams whatsoever, then he becomes absorbed in this prana. Then the speech enters into it with all names, the eyes with all forms, the ear with all sounds, the mind with all thoughts. When he awakes, then as from blazing fire, sparks proceed in all directions, so from that self all the pranas proceed, each towards its place. From the prana, the devas, from the devas, the words. This prana is alone identical with the knowledge. Having taken up this body, it raises it up. Therefore, let him worship this as the true Uktha. Thus do we find all in prana. What is prana? That is knowledge, prajna. What is knowledge? That is prana. Of that, this is the final proof. This is the true understanding. When a man is sick, about to die, very feeble and falls into fainting, they say his mind has departed. He hears not, he sees not, he speaks not, he thinks not. Then he becomes absorbed in this prana. Then the speech enters it with all names, the eye enters it with all forms, the hearing enters it with all sounds, the mind enters it with all thoughts. When he departs from this body, he departs together with all these. Fourth, speech gives up Speech gives up to him who is absorbed in prana all names, thereby he obtains all names by speech. The nose gives up to him all odors, thereby he obtains all odors by smell. The eye gives up to him all forms, thereby he obtains all forms by the eye. The ear gives up to him all sounds, thereby he attains all sounds by the ear. The mind gives up to him all thoughts, thereby he obtains all thoughts by the mind. This is the perfect absorption in prana. What is prana is prajna. What is prajna is prana. For together they two dwell in this body and together they two depart from it. Stanza 5. Now we shall explain how all beings are also absorbed in that prajna. Speech verily is one portion taken out of prajna. The world is its object placed outside. The nose is one portion taken out of it. The smell is its object placed outside. The eye is one portion taken out of it. The form is its object placed outside. The ear is one portion taken out of it. The sound is its object placed outside. The tongue is one portion taken out of it. The taste of food is its object placed outside. The two hands are one portion taken out of it. Their action is their object placed outside. The body is one portion taken out of it. Its pleasure and pain are its object placed outside. The organ of generation is one portion taken out of it. Enjoyment, dalliance, and offspring are its object placed outside. The 2 feet are one portion taken out of it. Walking are their object placed outside. Mind is one portion taken out of it. Thoughts and desires are its objects placed outside it. Stanza 6. Having by prajna taken possession of speech, he obtains by speech all words. Having by prajna taken possession of the nose, he finds all odors. Having by prajna taken hold of the eye, he finds all forms. Having by prajna taken possession of the ear, he hears all sounds. Having by prajna taken hold of the tongue, he gets all taste of food. Having by prajna taken possession of the two hands, he finds all actions. Having by prajna taken possession of the body, he gets pleasure and pain. Having by prajna taken hold of the organ of reproduction, he gets enjoyment, dalliance, and progeny. Having by prajna taken possession of the 2 feet, he gets all movements. Having by prajna taken possession of mind, he finds all thoughts. Stanza said, verily without prajna the speech can make known to the self into self no word. My mind, he says, was elsewhere. I did not hear the word. Without prajna the nose can make known no smell. My mind, he says, was elsewhere. I did not smell odor. Without prajna the I can make known no form. My mind, he says, was elsewhere. I did not see the form. Without prajna, the ear can make known no sound. My mind, he says, was elsewhere. I did not hear the sound. Without prajna, the tongue can make known no taste. My mind, he says, was elsewhere. I did not taste the food. Without prajna, the two hands can make known no action. Our mind, they say, were elsewhere. We did not perceive any act. Without prajna, the body can make known no pleasure or pain. My mind, he says, was elsewhere. I did not feel that pleasure or pain. Without prajna, the organ of reproduction can make known neither enjoyment nor dalliance nor progeny. My mind, he says, was elsewhere. I did not perceive any enjoyment, dalliance or progeny. Without prajna, the feet can make known no movement. Our mind, they say, was elsewhere. We did not perceive that movement. Without prajna, no thought can be formed. Nothing can be known that is to be known. Let no man try to find out what speech is, let him know the speaker. Let no man try to find out what odor is, let him know the smeller. Let no man try to find out what form is, let him know the seer. Let no man try to find out what sound is, let him know the hearer. Let no man try to find out the taste of food, let him know the knower of taste. Let no man try to find out what action is, let him know that isn't. Let no man try to find out what pleasure and pain are. Let him know the knower of pleasure and pain. Let no man try to find out what enjoyment, dalliance, and progeny are. Let him know the knower of enjoyment, dalliance, and progeny. Let no man try to find out what moment is. Let him know the mover. Let no man try to find out what mind is. Let him know the thinker. Verily, these 10 rudimentary elements, objects, what is spoken, smelt, seen, etc., depend on prajna, and the 10 objects, rudiments of prajna, depend on the elements. If there were no objects, rudimentary elements, there would be no subjects, rudimentaries of prajna, and if there were no subjects, there would be no objects. From either alone, nothing could be accomplished. There is no division of this union. Just as the circumference of a wheel is placed upon the spokes and the spokes upon the name, so the rudimentary elements are placed upon the rudiments of prajna and the rudiments of prajna on the prana. This prana is indeed the self of prajna. It is joy. It is imperishable and immortal. It is neither increased by good deeds nor decreased by bad deeds. Indeed, it causes him to do good deeds whom it wishes to uplift from the world, while it causes him to do evil deeds whom it wishes to sink down. This is the guardian of the world, this is the king of the world, this is the lord of the universe, this is my Indra's self, thus let a man know, yeah, thus let a man. Fourth Khanda, Gargya Balaki and Ajat Satru. Stanza 1. There was formerly Gargya, the son of Balaka, famous as a reader of the Vedas. He wandered about and lived among the Yusinaras, the Matsyas, the Kurus, the Panchals, the Kansis, and the Videhas. He came to Ajatsatru, the king of Kansi, and said to him, shall I tell you, Brahma? Ajatsatru said to him, I give thee 1,000 cows for that speech of yours, for verily all people run away saying, Janka, Janka, the king of Mithila. Stanza 2. Balaki said, the spirit that is in the sun, on him I meditate as Verma. Ajatsatru said to him, speak not proudly of this. No, no, do not challenge me on this. I meditate on him who is called great, clothed in white raiment, the supreme, the head of all beings, who meditates on him thus becomes the supreme and the head of all beings. Third stanza, Balaki said, the spirit that is in the moon, on him I meditate as Verma. Ajatsatru said, speak not proudly, do not challenge me on this. I meditate on him as Sama, the king, the self of all food. Whoso meditates on him thus becomes the self of all food. Fourth, Balaki said, the spirit that is in the lightning, on him I meditate as Verma. Ajatsatru said to him, do not challenge me on this. I meditate on him as the self in light. Whoso meditates on him thus becomes the self in light. Stanza 5. Balaki said, the spirit that is in the thunder, on him I meditate as Verma. Ajatsatru said to him, do not challenge me on this, I meditate on him as the self of sound, whose meditates on him thus, whoso meditates on him thus becomes the self of sound. Balaki said, the spirit that is in the ether, on him I meditate as Verma. Sixth stanza, Ajatsatru said, do not challenge me on this, I meditate on him as the full actionless Brahma. Whoso meditates on him thus is filled with progeny, cattle, fame, holiness, and swarga. Neither he himself nor his progeny perishes before the time. Stanza 7. Balaki said, the person that is in the air on him I meditate as Verma. Ajatsatru said to him, do not challenge me on this. I meditate on him as Indra. Vaikuntha as the unconquerable army, whose meditates on him thus becomes victorious, unconquerable by others and himself conquering others. Stanza 8. Balaki said, the spirit that is in the fire on him I meditate as Verma. Ajatsatru said to him, do not challenge me on this. I meditate on him as powerful, whoso meditates on him thus becomes powerful among others. Stanza 9. Balaki said, the spirit that is in the water I meditate as Verma. Ajatsatru said to him, do not challenge me on this. I meditate on him as the self on the name, whoso meditates on him thus becomes the self of the name. So thus far the adoration with regard to deities, now with regard to the body. Stanza 10. Balaki said, the spirit that is in the mirror on him I meditate as Verma. Ajatsatru said to him, do not challenge me on this. I meditate on him as the reflection. Whoso meditates on him, thus a son is born in his family who is likeness, no, not one who is not this likeness. Stanza 11. Balaki said, the spirit that is in the shadow on him I meditate as Verma. Ajatsatru said to him, do not challenge me on this. I meditate on him as the double and inseparable. Whoso meditates on him thus obtains a second offspring from his second wife and himself becomes doubled. Stanza 12. Balaki said, the spirit that is in the echo on him I meditate as Verma. Ajatsatru said to him, do not challenge me on this. I meditate on him as life. Whoso meditates on him, thus neither he himself nor his offspring will perish before the time. Stanza 13. Balaki said, the spirit that is in the sound on him I meditate as Verma. Ajatsatru said to him, do not challenge me on this. I meditate on him as death. Whoso meditates on him, thus neither he himself nor his progeny will die before the time. Stanza 14. Balaki said, I adore him who as that sleeping spirit goes forth by sleep. Ajatsatru said to him, do not challenge me on this. I meditate on him as King Yama. Whoso meditates on him, thus to him all this world is subdued for his well-being. Stanza 15. Balaki said, the spirit in this body, on him I meditate as Dharma. Ajatsatru said, do not challenge me on this. I meditate on him as Prajapati, Lord of creatures. Whoso meditates on him thus is multiplied in children and cattle. Stanza number 16. Balaki said, the spirit that is in the right eye, on him I meditate as Verma. Ajatsatru said to him, do not challenge me on this. I meditate on him as the self of spirit, as the self of the fire, as the self of splendor. Whosoever meditates on him, thus he becomes the self of these. Stanza 17. Balaki said, the spirit that is in the left eye, on him I meditate as Verma. Ajatsatru said to him, do not challenge me on this. I meditate on him as the self of truth, as the self of lightning, as the self of light. Whoso meditates on him, thus he becomes the self of these. Stanza 18. After this Balaki became silent. Ajatsatru said to him, thus far only do you know, O Balaki, thus far only, replied Balaki. Then Ajatsatru said to him, vainly you did challenge me, saying, shall I tell you, Brahma? O Balaki, he who is the maker of these spirits, whose work is all this, he verily is the being to be known. Stanza 19. Then Balaki came up to him with sacrificial fuel in his hand, saying, let me attend He, as my Guru Ajatasattu said to him, I think it improper that a Kshatriya should initiate a Brahman. Come, I will tell all I know. Then, having taken him by the hand, he set forth. They came to a person who was asleep. Ajatasattu called him, saying, Thou great one, clothed in white raiment, King Soma. But the man still lay asleep. Then he pushed him with a stick, and he at once rose up. Then Ajatasattu said to him, Balaki, where did this man here sleep? Where was he? Whence came he thus back? Balaki did not know. Stanza 20. Ajatasattu said to him, where this person here slept, where he was, whence he thus came back is this. The nerves of the heart named Hita proceed from the heart of the man and surround the great membrane round the heart. Then as a hair divided into 1,000 parts and fitted with the minute essence of various colors, white, black, yellow and red, when the sleeping man sees no dreams, he abides in these. Then he is absorbed in that prana. Then the speech enters him with all names, the eye with all forms, the ear with all sounds, and the mind with all thoughts. When he awakes, then as from a blazing fire sparks go forth in all directions, so from the self all the pranas go forth to their several stations. From the pranas, the devas, from the devas, the worlds. This is the true prana, identical with prajna. Entering this body and soul, it penetrates to the nails and hairs of the skin, just as a razor placed in a razor case or a fire in the fireplace, the irony. Even thus, this conscious self enters this body and soul to the very hairs and nails. The other selves, such as speech, etc., follow that self as the people follow the master of the house, as the master feeds with his people. As his people feed on the master, so this self feeds with the other selves as a master with his people, and the other souls follow him as his people follow the master. As long as Indra did not know this self, the Asuras overcame him. When he knew it, he conquered the Asuras and attained the preeminence among all gods, sovereignty and supremacy. Thus also he who knows this self obtains preeminence among all beings, sovereignty and supremacy. Yeah, he who knows this. So here ends this video. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Next video will be on the Chandogya Upanishad. So thank you my dear friends. Namaskar.